Hello everyone and welcome to Call Sign Charlie Models. It's time for a new build, and today we're going to be starting the CSM Caudron G.III late US and French service. I'm still not sure on which variant or decal option I'm going to do for this one, and I did just order some of the clear doped linen from MRP to paint this because I had the variant 1, which is more of a white or bleached clear dope linen. So got that on order, so hopefully that will be here in a few days. But we're going to go ahead and start this one, which is going to take a little bit of work and figuring out on how to get everything done with the woodwork and then all the rigging that is included, because looking at the instructions there is a lot of interior rigging to go onto this. We have some holes to drill here on the control panel or control like joist or throttle and joystick and all that. So gonna have to figure all that out, and then we might be just moving in sections with this. So I'm gonna go ahead and we are going to start getting to work. So I'm not going to glue this piece in yet because for ease of painting with the woodwork, and also the instructions say that this little bulb right here is actually supposed to be painted either, let's see, medium blue or a steel color. So yeah, I'm going to leave this wall off just for ease of painting and working with the oils and everything around there. So this basically, we're just getting everything cut out and ready for paint real quick. Alright, so I was just doing a test fit to see how this worked, and also I wanted to make sure that these ejector pin marks that are right here on both sides weren't really visible, and as I can tell they aren't. But I am going to paint these separately. Once I get that paint in, I'm going to paint the panels right here, all the clear doped linen or the doped linen, then mask all that off and then paint the wooden frames. Then after that we can go in and do all the rigging that's on the inside of here as well. So you are going to be able to see a lot of the interior of this because there's so little going on with the inside here, with only 2 seats and a control stick. Really that's all that is going on, so you will be able to see the interior rigging and everything that's going on with this kit when it's all built. So I mean, you're gonna have to do a lot of work, but it's gonna be worth it in the long run. So really looking forward to this. Right here, just get a rough fit. I'm just holding it together, and I just, like I said, had it together. There it goes, almost popped right in to place. Just a little bit of adjustment right there and it'll be good. So that's how that is, and hopefully when I get paint on, it all works the same way as that. And then on the back side we're going to have the instructor seat covering up all this stuff back here. So let's keep on moving on. Okay, so I think we're to a good stopping point right now. We got a lot of stuff cut out and ready for paint. I'm gonna probably primer everything, and then we can start on some of the woodwork stuff first while I'm waiting for that other paint to come in. Also, what we need to do is after these wings fully dry, I'm gonna go in, and I don't know if you can see all those tiny little holes right along here. I'm going to drill all those out because what we need to do later on as part of the rigging is we need to do all the lacing on the sides right there. So I'm going to be taking care of that. That'll be after paint and everything's done, but I mean, might as well start prepping for the hard part right now. But that's where we're at right now. Like I said, it's going to be a fairly slow moving part until I get that paint in, and hopefully it'll be in by the end of next week. That's where we are, and I'll be back in 1 second once we start doing all the primer and paint and woodwork. Alright, so just a quick update on how it's going with the Caudron, and this build it's different build sequence for me. I'm used to doing modern fighters and modern aircraft, World War II and beyond. And then with this being a World War I one, and the way that is called out for the paint instructions and the rigging and everything, there's even rigging inside of this. I really had to paint everything and then glue it all together. So everything here was painted separately. Luckily, for the most part, the fit was absolutely perfect. I just have one little seam back here to deal with, and that's going to be a quick easy sand and then a repaint of that, and that should be easily taken care of. But as you can see, the cockpit right in here, all looking, there's not much to it. I mean, and the woodwork, I am still figuring out how to do it. It's by no means expert in my opinion, but I am getting better at it, and that's the main deal. And also with painting leather seat belts as well, getting used to that. As you can see, I do have a few little rigging lines coming out here that are connected to the inside of the controls that really, with the way that these access ports are, the holes are too big, so you can't really get away with doing it afterwards. So I'm gonna have to deal with these loose hanging rigging lines until we're getting to the point where we're attaching everything. These long ones right here, they go back to the back tail plane, and then these four that are coming out the side will go to the first bracing that goes on to here. So those four won't be hanging around too long, but the other ones, they're going to be around for a while because I still need to do the full wing rigging. And right now I do have the decals on the upper wing on, and the Solva set is doing its work right now. So waiting for that to dry, and then I might have to do some touch-ups on that for both sides. As you can see right here, I have a little bit of wrinkling to take care of, and the same thing on the reverse side as well. So I'm going to let the Solva set dry all the way and then do the touch-ups. Another thing about this kit is, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but you have to stitch these wings all together. I used an easy line. I'll show you here in a second what I used to get that all done, but it really does look good when it is all done, and that is on both sides of the wings right there. So like I said, I'm going to let this Solva set dry overnight and then see what I need to do with those other decals. With this body, I'm waiting on the top wing to get done so I can attach that to these braces right here and then start the rigging process, working in all the way out. And then after that is all done, we're going to start working on the tail section and everything with that. So the other thing is, like I said, I do have all the braces painted. Here's one right here, painted with the wood and the aluminum braces going on. There's a lot of these going on, and I'm not even done with all of them. We got more for the back end as well that I'm going to be painting later on. Overall, I am pretty happy with the woodwork. It could be better, but for being only the second time doing this, I'm pretty happy with it. So next time it'll be even better, and so on and so forth. So that's where we're standing with the Caudron right now. I'll be back in a little bit once all the decals are dry and we are ready to start attaching the top wing and doing all the rigging on this guy. So I'll see you in a second. Alright, we're back and we have the front section of the Caudron done with all the rigging and everything. I didn't show it on camera. I didn't do it on camera for a couple reasons. Number one, even with the magnifiers, I had to get in real up close and personal on this thing to really see where I was putting the easy line. And secondly, I wasn't sure if the camera would even pick up the easy line because it is so thin. It is 0.1 millimeter easy line, which I love this stuff. Right here for the easy line, it's a stretchable line, so you can cut it, and if you cut it too short, you just stretch it to where it is, and it maintains its elasticity throughout. So the Felix stove that I did, I don't have any drooping lines or anything like that, and that's been built for a couple years now. If you've built biplanes with this easy line and you've had them up for 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 years or so, let me know if you've had sagging issues in the comments with your rigging. But moving on, so this Caudron, like I said, there is a lot of rigging going on with this. This took me probably about 2.5 to 3 days just to get this all rigged up, and I'm hoping that the camera will pick this up. Maybe I'll block off some of it so you can see there's a lot of rigging going on in here, and we still have all this rigging on the back side that is going to connect to the tailplane once I get all that done. So getting all this done, there's a couple knots, but luckily I cut these really long, so I have a lot of wiggle room to cut it off and stretch it. But so far, this kit, the fit on it, absolutely amazing. No issues with the rigging. I started with the inside, and I don't know if you can see the rigging on the inside of that, but there's even rigging right in here. I started with the inside and just worked my way out. After I got done with each section, I just added the struts to the next section. And like Wingnut wings, these struts were strong enough to maintain the weight or hold the weight of the upper wing without any issues or anything like that. So that's where that is right now. I get to set this off to the side while we start working on the tail section. And the tail section right here, so we're going to start working on this back skid, I guess is what it would be called. Getting that all prepped and getting that painted and with the wood and everything, as you can see right there. I'm going to go ahead, like I did with the front section, I'm going to pretty much do everything, paint everything separate, and then glue everything in, and then we'll start doing all the rigging on here. And the rigging on the back side, I think, is a little bit more complex and confusing than what the front was, because you have riggings that come from up here, but it doesn't show which rigging is going, what rigging from up here is this, because there's a lot of rigging that's still going on, and I still even have more rigging to add on to the bottom to go back. So we're gonna keep on going on. Like I said, I'm gonna get basically the rest of the model all cut off, all painted, all the decals and everything, so that way I can assemble everything and then rig it, and then after that, that's all done. So we'll have to see. I'm guessing maybe another couple weeks to get all this done, but we'll have to see how quickly I can move and everything else. So I'm going to go ahead and get off of here, and I'll be back once I have this back section painted, and we can actually, I'll probably do the rigging on these on camera. So I'll be back in 1 second. Alright, we're back with the Caudron, and I got the base coat painted on all the woodwork, and also went ahead and got all the canvas parts printed up or painted up, but I don't want to pick those up right now because I do have a little bit of oil from working on the first strut with the woodwork on my hands, so I really don't want to touch those pieces right now just because I don't want to get any fingerprints on it. But starting off with the woodwork, I painted it off with the black primer and then went in with the MRP pale wood as a base coat for the wood. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with a burnt umber from Abteilung Oils. I'm going to cover everything up, and then we're just going to wipe off all the excess. And the way it's going to come out is going to be kind of like this. Now, I am not a wood expert. This is only my second time doing woodwork on a kit. So by far there are better examples out there than this. It is kind of hard with the thin beams to get that wood grain in, but I think I am pretty happy with how this turns out. I might come in with some brushes soaked in some odorless thinner right here and kind of break it down a little bit more later on, but we'll have to see how this looks when it is fully not dry but still workable dry, and I might come in there. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in with my brush. I got my oil on the piece of cardboard right here, and I'm just going to spread this generously over this entire piece right here. I'm just coming in. I'm not worried about any of the metal parts. I'm going to paint those afterwards anyway, so I'm not worried about painting or covering any of that. The one problem that I might have to retouch is the small rigging holes that I drilled before this, because the oil, I put that on a little bit too thick. The oil is going to fill those holes rather easily because they are very small holes. Luckily that hadn't fallen off the workbench yet. So yeah, I'm just going to come in here. Good thing about with oils is you have plenty of time to work with them. Because after I'm done with all this, I'm going to let it set and dry for at least a day or two before I even touch it again with clear coats or anything like that. And then after that, we have to paint all the supports. So again, I'm just coming in here. I am spreading this generously. Then we're going to wipe off the excess and then go from there. So I'm going to speed up time right now so we can get this done in a few seconds for you guys. Alright, so all that oil is, I'm sorry, let me clean off the brush. So all the oil is added. Actually, no, it is not, because I need to do the underside here. Alright, now with this brush I'm just going to come in here, and with the way that the wood grain would be going, I'm just going to try to mark down some of the excess. Alright, so now I'm going to come in with this sawtooth brush and have it dipped in some thinner. We're going to have it damp. We're not going to have it soaked. We're just going to come in and rub down Alright, so that's the first two struts done. Get that to stop shaking. It's okay, I guess. It's better than my last attempt, which is really all that matters for me, is that it is progressing. I'm not going to try and go out there and be as good at overnight as some of the people that have been doing World War I aircraft for a very long time, that have years of experience. That's just not the way it typically works out. So if on my second try it can be better than the first try, then that's good enough for me. So there we go. That part is done. Now we have a few other struts to do. I'm going to let these dry for a few days before I do anything else to them. I have a few more struts and a propeller, so I'm going to go ahead and get off here, and I'm going to get all that done. And Charlie just started whining to go out, so I will see you in 1 second. Alright, so we're back with the Caudron, and all the build is done, and the rigging on the front wings is done, and I've started rigging on the back. Now here's the issue with this, is that my camera can barely pick up the rigging, and only if I have it at a certain angle, because if I do it like this you can barely see any of it. And then if I'm working on it like right here, you can't see the rigging, but there's rigging. If I put it at a certain angle, you can see all the rigging there. So instead of doing this on camera, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead off camera, do all the rigging, get everything finished up, and then up next will be the final review of this down in the photo booth. So that's where we're standing right now with this. We still have a lot more rigging to go. I think it's a total of like 5 or 6 more pages of rigging on the instructions to do. I do have everything else built and painted and ready to go. Here's your tire right here. We got 4 of those, and then the propeller right here done as well. So everything is done, built. Just the tires or the wheels and the prop to add on at the very end. But the rigging, like I said, I got about 5 more pages of rigging to do, and this is going to take at least a few days. So next time I see you, I will be down at the photo booth with this all finished up. So I'll see you in 1 second. Alright, we're back, and the Caudron G.III from Copper State Models is all done. This is the US and French version kit. I did do one of the French version variants for this one because the US version was just a little bit too bright and colorful for me. As you may know, I'm really not into the super loud models, but this one, again, really fun to build. A lot of rigging going on with this. I think the majority of the build was with the rigging. And as you can see here, I'm going to get the turntable going. A lot in the wings, on the tail, underneath, everything just rigging. And then even there is some cross bracing that is in the wings that they have you do later on in the build, but would be a lot easier to do early on. I think it steps 37 through 39 or something like that, that you're doing the rigging for the wings. And then in the step 60 something, they have you do the cross bracing. So if you look forward and bring those 2 steps back to the mid-wing rigging, make life a lot easier on you. But other than that, everything else went together absolutely amazing. This kit is much like Wingnut Wings. The fit on it is just absolutely outstanding. No issues with that. The only real issues I have with this kit were some of the color callouts, especially for some of the smaller parts. There's not really any color callouts. Now I do know that references for this actually are very limited, because you think all the photos of this aircraft, original photos, are black and white. So you kind of have to guesstimate on that, and like modern day pictures of it are from restoration. So really just have to take a quick guess and see how it works. But other than that, like I said, this build was an absolute blast to do. A lot of rigging. I'm going to have to order a new spool of Easy Line for my next build coming up whenever I do another World War I build. But again, super happy. I will definitely be getting more Copper State Models kits, because like I said, the fit on it was Wingnut Wings-esque. The instructions, again, Wingnut Wings-esque. The only downside to the instructions I have were some of the rigging that goes from the cockpit tub to the tail section. Which riggings those were, because you're going to have 4 riggings that are just hanging out there throughout the entire build, and when you go to connect them to the end, it is kind of vague on the instructions on which rigging is which, but you can figure it out eventually if you look at some later pictures. Other than that, that's all I have for this. I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed the short build portion of this. Again, there wasn't much to post on video on this because the majority of it was, like I said, rigging, and my camera would not pick up the rigging as I was doing it. And also I had to get really up close and personal, even with my magnifier, to see what I was doing. But again, hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching. If you haven't yet, don't forget to like and subscribe, comment down below, and until next time, I hope you guys stay frosty and happy modeling.